Be very, very careful.
I'm going to smash cut to the story. Get ready to guess.
I think all throughout history, people have thought that. That's why there's been slavery and things.
It's true. Yeah. Judith Love Cohen was an American aerospace engineer who helped to create the abort guidance system, which was used during the Apollo 13 mission to bring the astronauts safely back home. All true.
Okay.
She went to work the day her son was born. She took a printout of the problem she was working on to the hospital. Don't forget, this is 19, whatever. To the hospital. She called her boss to let him know that she had solved the problem. That same day, she gave birth to her son. Who was her son? Or who is her son currently?
I do know this answer. Pete?
Okay, it's Prince Philip. No, he's dead.
Do we want to ask the question again for chat?
Or Angela Lansbury. Angela Lansbury.
Oh, chat knows? The answer is Jack Black.
Which is a great story. Jack Black.
Absolutely fabulous.
Okay.
I don't know how this ties into Angela Lansbury or anything. I don't know. What's this about?
Doesn't. But hello, welcome to the 40k adjacent show. On the show today, we have the Falcon from the 40k Stat Center, and Val from Games Workshop is here, which is lovely. So
That's correct. That's correct. Newly signed. Actually, I have to announce that I'm leaving the show.
Oh, are you? Is this the announcement? Your crown, I'd let you know your crown fell off as you said it. It was almost perfect. I'm clipping that.
Yeah. The Richard III moment right there.
I'm not leaving until someone finds out I do this show. And then I'll probably have to leave.
Hey, it gives me a great opportunity to shout out all 14 and a half people who watch on YouTube. Thanks very much for being gangsters. Yeah, please don't murder me in my sleep, but appreciate you. If you could not tell anyone that Val does this show, that'd be great.
Yeah, if you guys could just never mention that this show exists, it would be best for all of us.
Because we need this. We really need it. And we couldn't do this without people listening to us. Because
the best part is, I do plug this show on every show I go on, and it has not once improved the views because nobody actually wants to hear our opinions on anything.
No,
I like hearing them. If that helps you.
Well, thanks, Rob.
I laugh at all our jokes. I think we're hilarious. I listen to every single episode.
Make the content that you want is what I say.
Exactly. That's what we've always done. You know, this is what we've always done.
Well, hello everyone to
one step ahead.
Hello to everyone in the Twitch chat. Thanks for being here, of course. Don't forget that we'll be live. Don't forget we'll be live later again at 5:30 for the 40k reveal. Will it be more centaurs? Is it only centaur based now? Who knows?
How about those vampire werewolves, though? Right?
Not well. Let's see. Datcom, you can use me as a reference on your CV. Probably won't be a successful reference at that point, I guess. Did you guys watch the reveals yesterday or see any of the reveals? And what did you two think?
Well, I thought the the fucking vampire werewolves are pretty sexy. Am I wrong?
There were no. Oh, you mean Radikar? Okay, so there was this. Yeah, there was the vampire, the vampire werewolf. Yeah. Oh no, actually, I guess the lady on the horse, on the wolf.
Yeah, Lady Elena.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah. That's true. They look great. They did look really good. I really liked it.
I want to just quickly address something in chat that I found a bit alarming. No, the Us Wargamer has no direct affiliation with the FLG, and all opinions expressed on this podcast are entirely Rob's and have nothing to do with me.
Nothing to do with me.
He makes me say everything that I say on this show. I don't have any. Just have no free will.
Most people wonder what I do with my time, but this is actually an intensely rehearsed and scripted show. Not a sync. Okay. Well, we should talk about the hot news. Wait, let me ask you how you both are first. Pete, how are you? Are you well?
I'm okay. I'm living. I'm not dead yet.
Okay. Well, that's positives. That's positives. Positive step. Val, what about yourself?
Well, I survived the rigors of Spice Center's innuendo and backhanded threats machinations last week. And otherwise great. Got booked for a jab, getting the jab
Nice.
next
For you,
next
bud.
Wednesday.
Nice. Have you already had yours, Pete?
Yep, had mine a couple weeks ago. My first one.
We-
I've not got mine yet. We're not in my age bracket.
We're not in mine either. But
Essentially,
the-
you're a e-celeb in your town, aren't you?
yeah, I'm an e-celeb, so they had a little pop-up and they were like, we're really only going to take famous people and people from the local Indian reserve. So if you are from either of those,
Right.
come on down. It was very
And-
specific. And so I just went over. I was like, listen, I have several podcasts that I'm on semi-regularly. And they're like, counts for up here. So get it done.
And I'm in a COVID hotspot. Woo!
Does that mean
Higher than
vaccination-
average infections.
Oh, nice. Congratulations, team. Well done. I'm proud of you all. And also, everyone also make sure you get vaccinated. And if you're listening to this, like, fuck you, Rob, like, fuck you back, is all I
Now,
think.
there's no way in hell anyone listens to this show, and isn't down with the vaccine. And by the way, I'm not getting the old blood vaccine. Only a standard risk of some weird side effects because again, hotspot. So I can go to the good place and get the Pfizer or the Moderna. I don't have to go to the pharmacy.
I'm getting them all. Just stocking up.
It's a good idea.
Apparently that's a thing. Apparently that helps. Apparently if you do a little mix and match, it apparently gives you a little bit of an extra edge.
Yeah, that's actually what all of the scientists suggested. They were like, what if Barry, 43 from Townsend, just decided he was just going to mix and match all of our different highly developed drugs? And they were like, we've not thought of that, Barry. What a geezer. Thanks very much. Appreciate your work.
That's that's like Canada. So it's like, okay, so guys, this is very, very cutting edge technology. You're going to want to take your second shot after about 3 weeks. Meanwhile, in Canada, but we're going to wait 4 months. Okay, so no problem. That should work just fine.
Yep.
Did a doctor tell you? Did a doctor tell you to do that, Prime Minister? Prime Minister? And the answer is no.
I don't know if we have a prime minister. We have, I think, a custard cream in charge. I'm not sure.
Man, I've seen his issues though. It is really rough making only $300,000 a year and not having to pay rent, but having to pay for your own food. That seems like a legit issue.
Is this our one or your one?
Your one. There was that BBC article where they were pretty keen on how it's a big struggle because he has to buy his own food.
Oh my!
Really? Bless him.
Yeah.
Bless him. I'll send him. I'll PayPal him a tenner. I've got him on Venmo, so I'll sling him a tenner. Bozza.
Yeah.
I think
He strikes me as a guy who only eats food from train stations.
That's a really good insult. Yeah, you have the body of a train station eater.
As someone who's eaten quite a few meals at train stations, I could spot one.
So, I mean, me and Pete, we did the show last week because you were actually, as we understand it, you were in contract negotiation with your new employers to ensure that you were allowed on the show. I mean, first off, huge congratulations on your new role.
Sorry. Hold on a second. I'm just getting a call.
Okay.
Hello. Oh, Reese. Hey, what's up? Yeah. Who messaged you? Can you spell it? Nikos? Never heard of him.
No.
I don't know. Is he a rapper? Like, maybe it's like Chaos. No, I don't know how to say it. Anyway, okay. Cheers. Sorry, what was that?
I was just congratulating you on your new job and wondering what your title and job role is, because some of the audience might not know what you're talking about.
Well, I am the Supreme Commander of the... Now, I give myself what I think is the best title anyone's given themselves, which is Creative Director and Floating Head of Frontline Gaming Network. So I'm very proud. And that's pretty much it. I think I've achieved all my goals and objectives. Got myself a good title, and now I'm about ready to retire, I think.
CDFH.
That's right, whatever that means.
CDFH. Well, Creative Director and Floating Head.
That's...
CDFH.
Yes, that's why I'm in charge, because I can really break down acronyms quickly and pick up my feet.
Pete, how do you feel about this? Your partner in crime, your co-host, your raison d'être, taking on this. Much vaunted and salubrious role.
It's hard to say. I think that there is a part of me that feels the ultimate betrayal.
Perfect.
And I think that's the all part of me. And then after that, it's there's a bit of congratulatory background music going on, and I don't really have much else to say.
Okay, it's exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know if you wanted to talk about it. Actually, I didn't really ask. I should have asked beforehand if it was something you wanted to discuss. I just thought. It's quite big news in the kind of content creation world for the kids. That's what I call North America. It's a big deal and for you, because it's it's a company and a group of people you love, and what you're hoping to achieve, I guess, is kind of the key question.
What am I hoping to achieve? Mostly more exposure for myself, as much as possible. But beyond that, similar objectives to you, Rob. I want to make this silly game watchable. Gosh darn it! And I think also I would love to bring some consistency to the lineup of the FLGN and make it fun. That's basically it. It's a hobby promotion. I get to give myself a silly title and do stuff, and hopefully convince FLG to maybe allocate a little bit more towards content creation and supporting the people who have sort of risen up around some of their shows. And it's not anything. I don't think we'll be reinventing the wheel. Just sort of trying harder at it. I felt like because I was being a little bit more involved, I thought it would be good to have some sort of title and/or way to confirm that I actually do have an association with Frontline Gaming in some way, because people were just taking my word for it, which was funny. So I guess that's it. Not like overwhelmingly inspiring stuff. I think we're just gonna, as events start up, I think you'll see that we're just more consistent and hopefully better organized and have a nice consistent theme. That's the goal.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have watched Signals from the Frontline before, but no. That's not a good show.
Not even the one I was on.
You were on Signals?
Yeah.
You were in studio.
Yeah, you were in studio.
I've been to the studio. I hung out with Reese and Frankie for a whole week. Yeah. They've been to my nightclub and danced.
You went into that back closet with the green screen and really rocked it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Signals is an institution, venerable, if you will, say Days of Our Lives, or other shows that have lasted a very long time. And I love Reese. What more can you say? Can you get enough of that?
He's got a good voice. And some great things to say. Because I haven't heard yet, to move the conversation forward, what is Reese's current take on the Drukhari? Because I often listen. I hear what things are said on that show through other people telling me, obviously never listening. So what would be because I don't listen to any shows. That's not true. I watched the stream from round 8 of Dallas Open this week, and I listened to John Lennon talk a little bit, and I thought, I quite like this guy. This guy seems all right.
John is very good at talking to his opponent on stream. It's always nice to hear. The Dallas Open, they went with the mic the players and have a guy whisper every 20 minutes approach, but not to really update you on what's happening on the table, more to let you know how much time's left in the round.
Okay.
Which is fine.
The players love that. That's my favorite, mainly because in round 1, 2 different players were having a very passive aggressive fight over the table, which was joyous. I was like, this is the content I've signed up for. If there was a network and they were like, we're only doing passive aggressive table commentary from the players, I'm like, sign me the fuck up.
That's my favorite. It honestly is my favorite thing.
That's actually in Canada. That's the horror network.
So you could see where it worked, which was round 8, and then where it didn't, which was rounds 1 through 7.
Oh boy.
But yeah.
Yeah. Golf 40k. I like that, but more boring is generally the consensus. I don't know what Reese's take on the Drukhari is. Is there a public take on the Drukhari?
I mean, I don't want to speak for him, but I'm just based on previous experience. I'm going to go with him saying that they're good.
Oh, okay. But
yeah,
is that
I think
true?
I think that Reese and many others in the community have kind of towed a line of it'll be fine, it'll get better, or people will adapt.
But actually, though, has he? Rob's making a good point. Has he said anything? I don't even
really think
know.
he said anything.
I don't think he said anything. He
I know
when I told him the book came out.
When I told him how good they were, he said, "That's a surprise." So.
Oh right. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Good. The other content creators, though, this is kind of the bit of the week. How do you guys feel about because you guys are like meta conversationalists, I think, in some situations. How do you guys feel about the conversation around the conversation, which I think is always glorious? There's been a lot of content, and me and Pete, went on a deep dive last week about a lot of the information, which I thought was really interesting. I listened to Jim's show the other day. He was had like a big long chat about it, which I think was fun. Logan, who's on the show with me later before the announcement, he's got a 30-minute. I said he specifically messaged me and went, "Get me on to talk about Drukhari," and I was like, oh, "We're doing the thing later." He's like, 30 minutes. All I need is 30 minutes, so it's going to be a hot mess. If you want a full whatever that's going to be, I'm in. Is what I'm going to say. Yep. So that's going to be fun. Yep. But yeah, how do you guys feel about the conversation is going? Because obviously you can't. Have you already talked about the results from the weekend? Because
I haven't. No. I mean, everybody else has, so I just didn't feel it was necessary. I mean, there's no surprise. Top 5, all Drukhari. One of them, Eldari, which was like 1,200 points of Drukhari, with some Inari spice and some no-look shooting from the Craft World book, because that's how Sean Layden does things. A 73.5% win rate over the weekend to go along with the 71 to 75% win rate they've had since they've launched. Like it's all getting better. Yeah, so it's no, that's actually worse. And yeah, like it's really funny how polarizing it can be. Like it does seem like the vast majority of people, at least now after this last weekend, are very much like, yeah, there is something that needs to be done. You can listen to Jim's rant from last night about Drukhari apologists that goes on for almost an hour.
It's worth it.
Because
it's worth it.
It is like it's all the stuff that I think a lot of people like knee jerk want to say, and he just like says it all, and it is quite the good rant. He also does one about like what the definition of gatekeeping is, which isn't as good, but I understood why, because Jim just likes to react to comments.
No,
whereas I've been seeing them for 3 years, so I'm just dead inside.
Is this why you have to watch Schitt's Creek just for some joy back into your life?
Yeah, like because like it's people don't understand how historicals work. I only ever get depressed when it's people that I think should know better. That's all. When people say like, "Oh, like the meta will adapt," and they're people that I know should know better. That's the only time I get a little sad, because I'm like, "Well, come on, guys. We've done this, 7 or 8 times now in 40K since 8th edition launched at least, and the meta has never adapted. Like it's a thing we make up. We say it to feel better. We're really good at this game. The whole world is good at this game. We'll figure it out, and then it'll never be a problem again." And any faction that's ever had a 60+% win rate, no one has adapted to. The game had to adapt. They had to like literally add things to make it work, to make it functional again.
This was the type of week where the replies I was getting from Pete were so short that I felt that it was important for me to actually call him. So that was the type of week Pete had with this. It's very trying.
There's loads of things to break down, but I think like mainly because I looked at the kind of the results from the weekend, and I thought, why didn't they just try and avoid the matchups? Was like my like hot take. Like I know that's an obvious one, but they didn't seem to be trying overly hard to avoid the matchups. Would be kind of my problem with the results.
Yeah,
I feel they're a bit skewed.
Why wouldn't they just, like, when they see the table that they have assigned, just change the number to a table that's better?
Thank you.
For them.
Also, to quote Nathan on the Monday show, why didn't they just cheat? That's always a really good, valuable way of like defeating high win rates. And finally, risky plays. Who doesn't want to take the big risky plays? There's just not enough effort being put in by the players, I think. So I think that's where we need to adapt effort. I think
that's where adaptation needs to happen.
That's where the adaptation, not the list writing and not even the plays, just the general effort on the tabletop or the surrounding things. That's why TJ Lanigan's so good. He adapted.
Rob, I do want to bring up something here so that I can feel included, which is that book I sent, Playing to Win.
Yes, sir.
And this is where this sort of concept of, do you change the game or do you let her be? The Chun-Li example in Street Fighter 2, in which people could spam that character and beat the crap out of noobs. However, really good players were able to eventually figure that out, rise up, overcome over time. And I think that's kind of the mentality. It's kind of like how in America everyone thinks that they need to have low taxes because they too one day will be a billionaire. I feel like everyone just thinks one day they too will be able to overcome impossible odds and be part of the 1% of Warhammer. And maybe that's why. Maybe people just love the challenge of Drukhari, right? Maybe we don't want to take away the fun of this riddle that we have here. Why nerf something and rob ourselves of the intellectual exercise of rising up, not necessarily against our leaders and our authority figures, but rising up against
representing the authority and the leaders. But please continue. Please continue with your point.
You don't have to spell out the irony I'm going for. Okay, I think our audience can get the double entendre I was making with the crown and the fur that I am wearing currently. But nonetheless, I do wonder why people believe that shit. I don't understand it any better than you or Pete does. And this is something that's existed really heavily, always in 40. Like Pete, you said back to 8th. This was the FAQ wars of 7th edition too. This was like ITC versus WTC. Like ITC was, maybe we shouldn't have this thing happen that makes the game really hard for 99.9% of people who play this. And then WTC and Nova and Adepticon be like, nope. Rules is written, and it would just be a nightmare. So,
sorry,
I'm curious.
Just for the audience, I'd like to hear Pete's point. Just for the audience, because some people might be new. What's the ITC stand for again? Just quickly, just for the audience.
The International Tournament Circuit.
That's right.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Pete, what's your response?
You're right. I'm global head. I am. That's a good point. I am the global. Creative director and global.
You're king of everything now.
That's right.
You are the king of everything.
Rob, thanks for pointing that out.
My pleasure. I was
too humble.
You were pointing. That's what I was pointing out. You hit the nail on that head.
Yeah.
Pete,
because if you were creative director of the independent tournament circuit, I mean, that's nothing. That's absolutely nothing.
Look at Corner Store network. Yeah. You know, that's like a mom and pop organization.
It's definitely a hipster crown if you're independent.
Right. I wouldn't even be wearing a crown. I'd probably be like some sort of like thing I got on Etsy.
Some kind of paper mache situation.
Instead of
that's
this,
where all the punks are on Etsy. Yeah,
really hard, solid gold crown that I'm wearing that disappears whenever I drink coffee.
Pete, what was your response to Val's point? If we remember,
if I've done my job, he has no idea what we're talking about anymore.
I don't have any idea what we're talking about anymore.
Can I just shout out Kenny Lowell in the chat? Love you. Thanks for being here.
Kenny's here?
Yeah, Kenny Lowell. Yeah, Combat Face Podcast. Love Kenny. He's great.
Kenny!
Yeah. Right. Yeah, in turn back, you've got it. You know that's happening. I mean, it's an undeniable fact that those Drukhari are super strong. Val, just to kind of like redress your point, I don't like to do this on the show. I very rarely kind of like show the error of their ways to my guests. But the if you're talking about the Playing to Win article, actually the first paragraph of that, or the first like little part about it, is whether or not the game is worth your time learning or playing, because is it a competitive game?
Yep.
And I mean, you can all play mirror matches, Drukhari, all day long. Yeah, and maybe there are some like fringe cases, but I guess the problem for any professional circuit and any people trying to do professional coverage at the minute who don't have a sardonic, nihilistic, hate-filled view of the world is, that's me, are that it's hard to talk about the game as a game, I would say, in some ways.
And I guess, look, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I believe that we should put the bumper rails on as much as possible, especially since it's fun when this game has a lot more potential winners. But what I'm saying is I think that mentality of let it play out does not necessarily mean that the game is impossible. Like, so if this situation were to persist, and as Pete pointed out, no one ever overcomes, then we would maybe see whether or not this game continues to be one worth playing, as they ask in that. But the second or third element of that book talks about essentially the urge to nerf and the urge to make changes being resisted because it takes time for people to figure out how it works. And that's just, I'm just describing, because that was the first time I understood the mentality. I know, Pete, I know. I'm just saying. This is an exercise in empathy, because it was the first time I ever even understood what that anyone was talking about. I didn't understand why people wouldn't want to make a game more accessible and less tippy and one-sided. And so people talk about, I think this is probably something I heard from the European theater, if you will, but just sort of the idea of like, it took a long time to adopt a Tau. That may have been Tom Adriani, I'm not sure. But it took a long time in 7th edition to adapt a Tau with the really weird shit and like in invulnerable defensive lists that were developed to sort of respond to very killy things in 7th edition. And okay, I think the point I'm trying to make is, yes, that's fun for a very specific subset. For example, Innes Wilson loved 7th edition. We do not want to make a game that appeals to Innes Wilson. That's for crazy people.
Mm-hmm.
And
he even said it in Twitter. He had an actual like very beautiful little tweet about it where he said, yeah, it's a long tweet where he basically says that 7th edition was his favorite way to play the game, but it was absolute garbage for literally everybody else. And he doesn't want to go that way because in 7th edition, the answer was we'll adapt. And only the top 1% of the 1% ever actually did. And it led to 4 lists, and those were all that were played in those places. And those were amazing games for those 4 people that played those 4 lists.
Yep.
And then everybody else didn't play the game. And so this was his entreaty early on about Drukhari after playing them several times and just realizing that it wasn't a game unless you were, generally a better skill level than your opponent playing an army that had an answer. So yeah, it's a legit thing. I understand where you're coming from. I'm just closing my eyes because I'm tired.
I'm tired.
Tired of this conversation.
I'm just physically tired, well, mentally also, but for other reasons. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. I think the majority of the people though have now in particular come out and been like, yeah, there's definitely issues that need to be resolved. We're even seeing it from some of the people the first couple of weeks that were like, oh, we just need to adapt. There's now more of well, maybe this is a little concerning. There's still excuses made, like, oh, those top 5 would have been the top 5 no matter what.
A little concerning. Can we not? Are we not? I messaged you about this.
Everyone wants to beat around the bush about it, right? Like, there's no like this is a problem. It's maybe it's a problem. Maybe there's a concern here because you don't want to admit defeat or that you were wrong, right?
Just a litany of cowards. Like the point is.
So as floating head of cowardliness, I'm going to continue devil's advocacy here. Also, do you think there's a little bit of who cares right now? Like, do you think there's maybe a bit? Do you think we're maybe in a little teapot of people who are actually engaged in playing face to face? I think it's started that way. Tournaments is still got to be pretty low, grand scheme of things.
I mean, we had 10 GTs 2 weeks ago.
Sure. That's kind of, that's some. There's a few tournaments. There's a
Yeah,
couple.
so, like this last weekend, we had one almost super major, but the weekend before we had 10 GT level events.
And
So I think
just
we're
real
almost
world
there.
as well, right? That's not even TTS. Right
Yeah.
now, like people's if people love this hobby to the point where this is where they find joy, they've moved on to TTS during lockdown because they're like, I want to continue my gaming with my friends. I want to continue playing, like, ignoring New Edition, which is like sales pitch, like that quintessential relationship that you have with your buddies because you go and meet them at the weekends or you go to events has been continued on through things like TTS or everything else, whatever the situation might be. Oh, what are you working on right now? Oh, I'm working on my tower. Oh, that's really cool. They're terrible though. It's like, oh no, that sucks. But like, hopefully they'll get better. Like that emotional strength that you get from having a hobby. A hobby should be fun. Like a competitive game should be competitive. The over competitiveness of the Drukhari makes it not as fun a hobby, so you're destroying a hobby. Very important that doesn't happen. And B, makes it not a competitive environment. It doesn't make it fair or balanced or in any way. It's still competitive, but it's not interesting. And so that counterpoint that like it isn't an issue is insane, especially when you're in the 70s. This is the point that blows my mind. People aren't raging. You should rage when they're in the 60s, like low 60s, like 62%. People should be like, this is bullshit. This is where people should be. That's where people should hold people to account. Like, and then it's only now like, oh hey, 72%. Maybe that's a problem. What fucking world is this? Like, I feel for Pete, because having done this for Age of Sigmar, I've been that guy for Age of Sigmar. I've been through this process. And my process is, with the Age of Sigmar community, if you don't like hearing it, fuck off. Because you're wrong. I don't like any cunt fucking content creator who's out there banging the drum of something I don't want to hear. I just tell them to fuck off, because they don't have an opinion worth listening to. And I think it's unfair on Pete. It's unfair that people keep asking him, and he knows, and he cares. That's why he fucking does it all. I just think it's a bit much, is what I think, ultimately.
So Pete, look, all right, Peter is 40K's Cassandra, and this is the punishment he's gotten for something he's done in a previous life, or he upset Zeus at some point. We don't know exactly what the story is.
It involved a swan. I didn't know what was going on. The baby was weird looking. Anyway, long story.
Mistakes were made, all right? And now he's forced to know how bad things are in 40K and for no one to believe him. In fact, argue against him and tell him he's an idiot. I mean, this is just the way the world has been set to work.
But I mean, it's fine. I think Tom Dix here was like, next couple of books, Admech and Likely Sisters, correct? Expecting them to make this whole convo moot. I think that's actually, this is the thing, the feeling I've had since the numbers started coming in and I saw the initial reactions for certain people was, COVID screwed up the launch of everything. Everything's several months behind. We've talked about this before about other codexes. We kind of saw it with Book of Rest, where all of a sudden we got supplements for books that were coming out like a week later, which just doesn't make sense unless that Book of Rest was supposed to come out like at that time period, but there was supposed to already be 6 other codexes in play. So I really do believe that a lot of this is like, hey, when we were testing this with 2 other extremely powerful books, or 3 in the meta, and it wasn't that big a deal to us. Which also scares me as to why we're waiting.
Doesn't scare me,
I think there's,
because let me tell you, like, talking about those apologists, if it's orcs, they're fine. They're so fine.
I did the Florida Man podcast this last week. They haven't uploaded. They think they've only given it to their patrons yet, but it was actually something I've said is like, it's very hard to be objective when you like something a lot. When I do stats, right, there's this whole statistician versus analyst thing, and you have to separate the two. You can't do stats and analyze them at the same time because you'll end up running into issues with bias and all sorts of other problems, right? So you got to shut your mind off. But even I would get it. Sometimes I would look at, like when Custodes had their huge ramp with the Caladius Grav tank, there was definitely times where I didn't like what the data was saying, and I had to like stop myself and be like, well, this is it, buddy. Like, these are your rules you've set up. Don't change them because your favorite army needs to be nerfed. So I definitely see it when it comes to other people that are like, this is my baby. I've been waiting all this time. Like maybe I see something that other people don't. You lie to yourself a little bit because it's hard to be objective.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. People are really attached. And then, there's other people that help make the rules. And they get attached in a different way because they're like, this is my baby and that I'm the reason why this happened, or I feel like I'm the reason this happened. And it's all going to be fine because, I see the future and I know what it'll be like. So it's just,
but
I don't know.
That's weird. And I want to say I apologize to the audience and to you two for dropping the C-bomb. Just because I feel for Pete on this subject, I do. And and that's where it comes from because I just I've been having fun with it. If anything, for me, I want it to be in the 80s. That's where I want it to be because it all falls down more and it's funnier for me. As an observer, I'm like Burn Rome. I want to watch. Yeah, it's great.
I like that comment on Spice Center was one of the first times I've ever heard Tom be like, "Why? Why would you want that, Rob? Why? Why would you want the game to be worse? I don't know. We want it to be better, right? Don't we, guys?" It was fantastic.
We do. We fundamentally do. That's where the criticisms are ensconced, right? They come from a place of love where you want them to be good, right? But
yeah,
the argument that, and I don't need, everyone's had this conversation, or maybe they haven't, but the argument that just wait for a better future is weird because ignoring release schedule or anything, tailoring a book to come out and have a level of power above X, even if it's for a 4-week window, maybe that's all that was intended, is still a long time in real world time. Maybe that's one guy's weekend away that year to do his game with his mates, and then he just gets stomped at a tournament or an event or something, who knows. There has to be some idea that what you're putting out there as a product is designed to make people have fun.
Yeah.
That's got to be the core. That's all I care about now is people enjoying themselves. And it just seems to take away from people enjoying themselves.
When we were midway through the release schedule of 8th edition, I think, for example, not even midway, I would say halfway through the first year, and there was a particular, especially around strats, and there was a particularly big gulf opening up between the haves and the have-nots, and there were still a lot of have-nots, which is kind of where we are right now. Plus, we have a slower release schedule. Things got awkward, and there were a lot of people who started clamoring they should be releasing all of the rules all at once because that's what happened at the beginning of 8th edition. And by the way, it was pretty cool, although still woefully unbalanced. They needed to do a lot of work. I think really the problem is the sort of sequential release strategy, the way that they've always done it doesn't work if you want to have a game that doesn't require emergency patches all the time and is on top. Their job is incredibly hard, even if they were very systematic and serious about their approach. It would be hard to make this game sing in a really anything close to parody type fashion, right? So I think that fundamentally, I think the way that the release schedule is built is why we always find ourselves in this, because you're either going to have power creep where each subsequent book is getting stronger, at least versus the previous edition, obviously, or you're going to get, if you're coming from an edition that was viewed as too overpowered, you're going to get the reverse of that. New books suck. You saw that at the beginning of 7th. So Orcs, Dark Eldar, and the other ones that were right at the beginning, Space Marines. So yeah, there were that's what I think really the problem is the way that they roll out new rules and new editions.
No comment from me. I'm not talking about the company anymore. That's my thing. And I'm happy to be so. With okay, well, I mean, some great things from the weekend. If you don't mind me kind of pivoting a little bit. Gene Stealer Colts I think they went 5-3. Gene Stealer Colts.
Yeah, one guy. Yeah,
that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. I thought anyway. And then Admech, that fella, nearly won.
Mark Hertel.
Yeah, amazing. 7-1.
Mark Hertel was, I think he was number 1 Admech the last real year of the game. He's a really, really good player. They call him the Rain Man for a number of reasons. It's the only army he's played for years. He's won several GTs, as I recall, out of the Pittsburgh area normally, the Steel City, which is actually where TJ plays, of all things. But yeah, he's a great player. Admech were kind of like the army. A lot of people pitched as having a game into Drukhari. They don't, unless you're Mark Hertel, apparently. But man, he really put up the numbers. I mean, he beat Naden when they got to the table. Naden and him both agreed whoever went first was going to win. He beat Nanavati. And then I think he lost to Lennon because he got tilted because Lennon had a really good turn 2, and that was after Mark going first and usually crippling everybody, and he didn't. He kind of had a slightly subpar turn 1, and then Lennon had an amazing turn 2 where literally everything he targeted died, and then he went tilted and forgot like half his army, and that was it.
Yeah, he also said the secondaries he chose. He was like, I chose different secondaries all weekend, and then I just did something different. Do you think, like, is he someone likely to be spooked by someone like Lennon? Was it like a
I don't think so.
Spooking?
I don't know. Like it's hard to say.
I mean,
know
Lennon's jacked. So like you come to that table,
Lennon's massive. Like if you the camera doesn't show it. The camera doesn't show how like just a big guy Lennon is with his weird hair and his monotone drawl and his small arms. Florida. You can tell.
He's got like long gum, short teeth syndrome, which is. I was like, do I make that joke? Number one, huge fan. Huge fan. I really liked it. Carry on.
I make fun of him all the time, so it's fine.
He seems like a great dude. If I'm
honest,
he
is.
Good.
Yes. Yeah. How about here's a little something I thought that was neat from the Dallas Open. 8 rounds. That is a rarity. A 3-day tournament that's not run. That's not like Adepticon, Frontline Gaming, Nova, one of the weird Australian ones, or like WTC. Like I think that's a pretty big achievement to go to a 3-day tournament. Pretty neat.
I would say, based on the tables, and I mean, no way talking about the terrain, but I might talk about it in a minute. Rough on the back because they were low tables again.
Boy,
because we're all tall fellas. Like, can we not this? Like Val, if there's anything I'd like the FLGN to push, it would be taller tables. And if you're short stand on a box, that would be like, yeah, if there's a podcast we could hear about that because we don't hear about that enough, I think, because it's too low. It's only because I was we're getting chairs for the venue, right? And our tables are quite high, so we need bar stools as opposed to like a regular chair or whatever. And then it got me thinking about Warhammer World. And if you've ever been to Warhammer World, they have like children's stools, like the smallest stool that you could ever get, like basically a step high. And then I was like, but I remember sitting at a table comfortably with it, and I'm like, how low are the tables? I'm trying to think about that. Low is what I'm picturing. I don't know if you guys have ever been to an event where the tables were high enough.
Yeah, actually, my old LGS, they invested in a bunch of stand-up tables, and it was amazing when you played on them. Like they had 2 gaming rooms, and usually they'd have like 7 or 8 tables of the old school style in one, and then they had their 5 stand-up tables. And if you could get on a stand-up table for any of your games, it was just beautiful, just amazing. No issues all day. If you could get all 3 games on that table or tables, man.
Okay, so my follow-up question is... Oh, no, Val, have you played on any taller tables?
Yeah, no, it's quite nice. But then you'll have the opposite problem, which is the shouties out there aren't going to be able to reach into that middle. Maybe you need like a little running board on the tables.
Just saying, if Games Workshop could release a box that you could buy.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
That's a product.
That's brilliant.
Call it the Bits box. You put your store your sprues in it, and then also
it's your carry case and your standing box. That one, that one works really well. How about just while we're kind of just discussing tournaments and stuff? How about there were different heights based on how well you were doing? If you were doing badly, lower tables. Like so, it's literally you're at the higher tables as time goes on. Thoughts?
Oh, I like that. Punishment for being weaker at the game. Yeah, I like that. You know me. I really don't want anyone to enjoy the game unless they are top level.
I will say
I'm not inclusive. I am not an inclusive person.
No.
Get out of here if you're bad.
Exclusive with 2 Fs. That's old Pete over there.
Yeah.
I would actually, chat brought up a good point. Accessibility is an issue, Rob. For like not just like so people who are in a wheelchair or differently abled, they would they would probably need an ability to go there. At American tournaments, because they're often in like hotel ballrooms and stuff, or convention rooms or whatever. Normally they have a lot of chairs. So like normally there's a culture of sitting during your opponent's turn, and for a long time I just never sat, and then finally I noticed that my opponent was sitting while I was doing stuff, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna give it a try. It was amazing.
Nice little seat. I wonder if there's a product we haven't yet invented. I was wondering also about John Lennon being such a tall fella and the tables being so low. Do you think that gives him a commanding view in a top-down perspective?
Exactly.
Yeah. All like 5'4" of John Lennon, definitely.
Oh, is he a small fella?
He's not really that small. I think he's like 5'10" or something. But it's a better narrative than what you were going with. I like it.
Yeah, damn it! I thought because when you said he was jacked, I thought he was tall, but
no, I was lying.
The table must be really small then, because he looked quite tall next to it.
They used children's tables like they would, like if you were at like your grandmother's house for like a Thanksgiving dinner, and they're like, you have to go sit at that table. That's what they used for all of them.
Did you see? How did you feel about the terrain? Picked on a little bit. I thought. Did you have any thoughts?
It didn't look good. And they definitely got blasted for their first couple of attempts at showing the world what their terrain was going to be like. And they did make adjustments. There was one table that kind of made the rounds at the end of it all that was essentially 100% line of sight blocking. And that looked real dumb. But I will, like, in their defense, say that like I've heard stories that one of the people that was in charge of their terrain essentially passed away while they were and so they ended up like way behind, and maybe this isn't true, but like I would like to believe no one would lie about something like that, so it caused them to be behind, and they ended up having to try to make they were trying to be a 256 table event, right? A 256 person event, so you need like 128 tables worth of terrain.
Insane.
So of course that's going to lower your quality like in one way alone, unless you want to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And then if something like that really did happen to set you back, I think they did a fine job. I'm going to try not to harp on them too bad, even though a couple of their terrain decisions looked fucking terrible. But yeah.
Was this the first successful one? Like, did they have their first one planned for last summer? Is that these guys?
Like
the Dallas GT has happened before. This was their first attempt at making it a super major. And it was supposed to be a super major COVID times, and it got canceled. So this is their first go at it. They ended up at 170 players, 172, something like that. So
I think I'm thinking of the balls one.
Balls was the one that never happened, period. And then they were trying to, and then that was a whole drama because they wanted to have it the same weekend as the Dallas Open the first time.
I mean, there's only so many weekends to choose from in Texas, so
true.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of events there, which I think is interesting. Q-shaped terrain has been brought up in the chat, which I think no one's explored that. But I don't want to talk about terrain at any point more. Before we head off today, how do you guys want to, or what do you guys expect, predict, hope from the 40K reveal today? There is in but 5 hours, which we'll be live for on the show. A bunch of reveals. What are we thinking? What are you hoping for? I'm hoping for a mobile app game for 40K where I'm allowed to paint my Space Marine armor. That's my fervent hope.
That sounds like a particularly specific hope. So maybe we'll get lucky.
Let's hope.
I'm curious to see more orc stuff. I think that'd be cool. I'd be excited about that.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm in for that. So in. It's unbelievable. Falcon, where you at? You seem keen.
I really want some Murder, She Wrote themed models. That's it. Do it.
Hold on.
GW, don't be fucking cowards. Murder, She Wrote this.
Murder, She Wrote this. But wait, have they released any of the Warhammer Crime yet?
The books they have, but like they haven't released a model, and they could just do it.
Have you read the Warhammer Crime?
I did. I read the crime.
How was it? How was it?
It's good. It's actually the two of them that I've read were fantastic. Actually,
wow.
The Christopher Wright, however you pronounce his last name. I don't know how you British people pronounce things anymore. Bloodlines was just fucking incredible. I really enjoyed it. Really had a good romp through that book. So highly recommend.
Literally the maybe second or third book I've ever attempted to listen to on Audible. That is 40K fiction. Started it last night. Went to sleep to it. It was delightful. I like that. It's Eisenhornish.
Yeah, it's Eisenhornish without like. There's a little less mystique. It's a lot more like this is a detective. Mm-hmm. Like you could feel Angela Lansbury in that book. In your bones.
Yeah.
You know she did porn, right? Just gonna throw that out there.
She did not. She did. You're talking about like a softcore midday kind of like.
Yeah.
It's a midday
when she
porn.
was about 65. When she was about 65.
Yeah.
She did a whole movie about like having sex when you're in your 60s and how to do it proper.
Wow.
From a hot tub. And like these days that would be on Twitch and she'd be making big money.
Big money. Big money.
Instead they probably paid her like $20 and they're like, just get in that tub, Angela. She's a national treasure and they're just like, Angela, get in the tub.
Okay. So, wow. I just found an article from the Metro News in someplace. Angela Lansbury rubbing herself in cream and exercising in a onesie is mesmerizing. That's the lead.
Yeah.
And
I can't see how it isn't.
I think, wow. I mean, that's something.
It is.
Like, this is what I wanted to talk about for the whole episode. Instead, we got all uppity about, like, Drukhari. But now I'm just like, we have a reveal today, GW. You released like 16 fucking centaurs yesterday for AOS. Where's my fucking centaur? Where's my Angela Lansbury? I'm looking right in my camera because I'm so fucking mad. This is what I expect. If you don't give me squats, if you don't give me some kind of orc scenario that's amazing,
we're getting snake bites back.
They never left. They never left, Val. But where's my Angela Lansbury? Where's my squats? Where's my centaurs? I just want like fucking orc tours.
I saw someone the other day say, "Hey, there's a bunch of boomer elves riding dinosaurs, and I can't collect them. Is that real?" And yes. Like, that's wild that they haven't made that yet. Thanks to Scotty D49 for raiding us with 7 folk. Appreciate you. What up? This is the 40K Jason
Scotty
show.
D.
Yes, Scotty D.
You missed all the good parts, you 7 people.
I've never seen a 49-sided dice, but I'm sure it's cool.
Yeah, they had centaurs and bat centaurs, and
Did you see the vampire model? I initially saw the vampire model, and I was like... I'm into it, and then I was like, nah, on reflection, I'm not. This is dumb.
I'm not either. No. Vampire centaurs, fuck them.
Fuck vampire centaurs.
GW, you had so much potential, and you ruined it on vampire centaurs. And your big centaur guy, Craggy Butt, like...
That's his name.
Too much teeth. Too much teeth.
What do you mean there's too much teeth?
Look at his teeth. Like, he has the 2 heads. He has the one where his mouth is open, A1. Mm-hmm. And then he has the one where his mouth is closed and he's gritting his teeth. And there's just like all teeth. Like it's just like half his face is teeth. What is that? What is that? I know your dental situation over there is just awful. And you just don't know what real teeth look like. And I'm assuming that's what happened. Was they're like, they told the sculptor like, hey, can you do some teeth up for this dude? And he was like, no, I can't. I really can't. Never seen him.
I really like the short gum, long teeth insult earlier today. That is a particular kind of awful.
I think it was the first, but I'm also, yeah.
Oh, the best thing I ever heard someone say was, "You've got a really nice smile. It touches your eyes, but I wish it would tell your teeth." And I was like, "That's fucking awful."
Scribbo over here defending Teethy models. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, he didn't like it. He didn't like it. Val, did you have any takeaways from the reveal? No,
Well,
none of them.
all I know is that I can't use the pretty lady filter too much because it's going to stop me from being able to continually catfish you on Tinder, and I think it's far too effective. I might have to rewatch the video version of this show. If you know what I mean.
Okay, well, I think this is as good as any place to end one of these shows. Where we're at. You guys got any shout outs before we head out today? You got anything you want to holler at the moon?
Shout out to the Spice Center, bringing that hot spice.
Well, I don't know if we've got any spice this week. Like, I think we both have all said we're bored of the Drukhari conversation now. So
you're gonna go to. Oh, you'll find something to natter on about, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's just yeah. Well, yeah. What about you, Falcon? You got anything? Big shout outs?
Big shout outs? I mean, I thought I was pretty big on the Centaur thing and Angela Lansbury. Like, how much bigger do you want me to get, Rob? Like,
I mean,
this is
whatever.
huge.
It's your platform.
Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters right now, right? The game is a mess. I don't know what to say about it. Like, I'm so sad. Listen,
so many people watching.
My nanny Annie, my great nanny Wiggle Wiggle, she once told me, okay, she said, listen, my angina's acting up, my psoriasis is acting up, but listen, you just gotta love people and don't pee the bed. That was it. She was a fucking genius and I loved her. And yeah.
That reminds me of something my grandpa once told me, which is when you pee in the jug, remember to take the lid off, or else it goes everywhere.
Yep.
What jug are you peeing in?
Well, he was limited mobility. He was a very old man. He had to pee in a little fucking jug, and sometimes he apparently forgot to take the lid off.
Okay. Thanks everyone for tuning into the 40K Jason show.
On that sad note of our inevitable end. By the way, I think I might be hallucinating because I look like a pretty lady. But we got up to 150 viewers there for a hot minute.
Yep. Yep.
Too many. Exposure is too high.
The 40K adjacent show.
We need to lower the exposure. Guys, if we could watch in shifts, I'd really appreciate it.
That's what happens when I have famous people on the show.
It's true. It's true. The extra 10 to 12 people just show up.
I wish this thing would do a hair flip. If this thing could do a hair flip, it would be perfect. But I can't flip my hair.
You don't need to. I'm also in grey today, which is very rare. Almost never in grey.
Yes.
So that was a nice little change for me. Love you all, Twitch chat. You're all brilliant. YouTube guys, be nice to us. Obviously, I know you're a bunch of thugs who just want to be mean, but if you just leave a comment.
YouTube, listen to me. Listen to me, YouTube. Fuck off. Stop it. Be nice. Rob has feelings. He reads all your comments. He's not like me. Okay? I didn't even know we had YouTube. Just be nice to him. He's a good person. He has a good heart. Teeth are a little messed up, just like Kragnos.
He's a bit jacked up, but he means well.
But well.
Hey, also, I want to say shout out to you, Val. Like, I think it's great that the passion that I know you have for the community is going to be pushed to push another group of people with passion for the community in a great direction. So I think that's great. So I think wonderful. But we're going to have to take the piss, and you know that, right? So that's how it works.
I'm going to have to be very suspicious of all the comments that just previously came out of your mouth, because I'm pretty sure they are not the views shared by the Honest Wargamer or its viewership.
The Honest Wargamer and its viewership can't agree on the fucking color of piss. Yeah?
Wheat color.
Is it bright red? Is it like an orange?
Why does it always smell?
Whenever it's been bright red for me, it's been a bad thing. Like, I've had to be in the hospital. So go for the wheat color. Anyway.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everybody.
Podcast people, stay hydrated. Love you tons. Bye. Wait, we got to do a raid. I did a raid.
You have to raid somebody. Rob. Is Angela Lansbury online right now?
I've already organised it. Apparently,
I'm
don't
real
ask.
sad.
Today,
if
don't
she's
ask for
dead.
toughs. So if you could just ask for someone's opinion on the Drukhari meta right now, that would be great. I do love reading painter streams. They're like, what? So just ask them how they feel about like blade veins and stuff. I'm sure they'd be fine with it. Strength
Blade
7,
veins.
is that true?
Oh man, one day.